Oh, sorry, I just stepped in cherry blossoms. I'm covered in splendor. I'm covered in it.
Guys, we've got a bona fide superstar here in many ways. No introduction needed. Ladies and gentlemen, Travis Waters.
That's right, brother. Also known as the man with the plan and the golden tan, brother. The voice of the lady's choice. You know, this morning, Scotty, I had a few beautiful women running down the beach in thongs. Of course, the lady's choice was behind in the golf cart, cheering them on. I got people asking me, LC, you're still working. You must have it made in the shade. One problem, brother. I spent every penny I made. But don't worry, Daddy. I'm still up to grade. I still know a few tricks of the trade. And Daddy, if this goes on television, where do I get paid?
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies' choice, Travis Waters.
You know what? I used to be a pro wrestler, Daddy, okay? And from Sudan to Japan, brother, Singapore to Baltimore, they called me the lady's choice. And with good reason. I got a lot of pussy in the 80s, okay? But I have to admit, last night, I was a fool, okay? Because I should have let the legend live, but no, like an idiot. I tried to go out to the nightclub and live the legend. It was a disaster, okay? I did the 4 outs. You know what that is? No? I went out, then I struck out, I went home and pigged out, and I passed out. You call that success? For the lady's choice, that's failure, okay? 10,000 times worse than all that. I woke up this morning, and I was so hungover, I was doing the twist. You don't know what that is? No? That's when you're actually puking into your own and it's terrible. Terrible. This isn't something you post on Instagram, okay? Trust me on that one. Now, you might not know this to look at me, okay? But I'm old school, you know what I'm saying? I still rock aviator sunglasses, still wearing a fanny pack, right? I still have my acid wash jeans tucked into my high-cut sneakers, right? When I go to a nightclub, I don't just dance, I break dance, right? 25 years ago, they used to form a circle around my ass. Now, not so much, right? Now, I see some people here around my age, but then some of you look like you're in your 20s, right? And I remember when I was in my 20s, and I'd go to a nightclub, and I'd see a guy there in his 40s, and I'd think to myself, you know, he looks a little old to be in here. Well, guess what, people? Hey-o! I'm now that guy, right? Now, I didn't think it could happen to me, but it happened. And look, I realize I'm too old for the nightclub, but guess what? I'm too young for the Legion, right? So where the hell do I go, right? What do I do? Huh? I'm walking a tightrope here, people. And I realize I have nothing to talk about with these young girls. They're talking about school, university, and I'm saying things like, well, in my day, things were different. Holy how old does that sound? I might as well be wearing shoe rubbers and telling kids to get off my lawn, right? But here's the sad thing. It's true. In my day, things were different. Take school, for instance. In my day, teachers could slap you around. Remember that? Get out! You didn't walk out, you staggered out, right? But you get off easy. Because if the teacher felt like it, they could haul off and punch you right in the damn mouth, right? Does anyone here remember the strap? Remember the strap? Yeah, me too. I had one principal in elementary school. When he gave you the strap, he used to wind up like this, right? And then strap your ass. I remember it hurt so bad, I didn't cry out. I remember crying in. I was like, oh. But the parents, remember what the parents had to say about it? Yeah. All, right? Parents didn't give a shit. Back then, if the parents said anything, they said, good. The little bastard. And got what he had coming. Next time, hit the little bastard harder, teach him a lesson. I certainly didn't come home and say anything to my mother. She would have beat the shit out of me 10 times as bad, right? But trust me, that was when parents had teachers' backs, right? Parents don't have teachers' backs anymore. All they do is complain. It's so bad now, teachers don't fail students anymore. You can't fail a grade. When I went to school, you could fail the same grade twice. Right? Who didn't know someone 14 in grade 6? We all did. The kid with a mustache. What's the sense of going to school if you don't know someone 14 in grade 6? But nobody shall be left behind. We all participated, so we all get a ribbon. We're all winners. Well, not when I went to school. When I went, the teacher had no trouble looking you square in the eye and saying, guess what, kid? You lost. You're a loser. And you don't get a ribbon, because all the other kids were faster than you. To get off the field, you tough shit. Hey, it was a tough lesson, but someone had to teach it. I'll finish you with this. I got some good news, right? Fort McMurray is being rebuilt, right? I got friends out there. They've got more work, making more money than ever before. They said to me, brother, why don't you come out here and make some money? I said, all right. So I wrote my buddy a message in Fort McMurray. I said, hey man, any work out there for a guy like me? He wrote me back the next day. He said, brother, if you can pass a drug test and get your Class 1 driver's license, you can start work tomorrow. Well, I wrote him right back. I said, hey man, all he had to say was no, right? You didn't have to be an asshole about it. Thank you very much. That's my time. Thank you for supporting Canadian comedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Travis Waters! You can Google him, Ladies' Choice, from the 80s. That's a real thing. Wow.
And I was looking for places to do stand-up, and I was looking for places where young...
Welcome back to Rise of the Comics, everyone. I'm your host, Scotty Aceman. We've got a very special night here. We are at Comedy at the Kino on Cambie. It's a bit of a tongue twister. It's the longest running show in the history of Vancouver, just celebrating their 10-year anniversary. And I'm here with the showrunner himself, Mr. Steve Allen. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. This is a real honor.
It's an honor for me. Steve and I have been chatting, and there's a lot of information that this young man has built around this venue, and we're going to get right into it. My first question for you is, Steve, 10 years ago, I'd like to hear about your idea, how you came up with running this brilliant show, and you've managed to keep it at $5.
Yeah. Well, 10 years ago, I just got back from LA. I had a 7-year stint down there, and I was looking for places to do stand-up, and I was looking for places where young comics could, you know, come and try new stuff and still have pros come and work on their stuff. So myself and another comic, Byron Bertram, we approached the owners of this place, Franco and Marco, and said, hey, can we use your stage on a Tuesday night? And we filled the place for a couple of weeks in a row, and they loved it, and we've been doing it every Tuesday night for 10 years.
That's absolutely remarkable, and there's a lot of competition in this city, and we're going to get to all the venues later on, but right now what's going through my head is all the big stars, the big names, all the amateurs, and if I'm correct, there's probably about 3,000 comics that you've hosted here. Who stands out at the top of your list?
That's an easy one. Back on December 6th, we had Louis C.K. come, and he did 43 minutes and 20 seconds of stand-up right here on the stage. We've also had comics like John Doerr from the States. He's originally from Ottawa. We've had him come through a couple of times. Ian Bagg, he came third in Last Comic Standing. We've had Lachlan Patterson, came second in Last Comic Standing. We never seem to get any of the first place guys, but we'll get there one day. Yeah, and we've had people like Erica Sigurdsson work here, and Simon King, John Bueller, like a lot of the big Canadian comics too. So the bottom line is it's not just them. We also have what we call the 3-minute spot. So you can always like catch a couple of newbies doing stand-up for the very first time here. And that's the part I like the most. I love having the big names come in, but it's just so exciting to see somebody try it for the first time and succeed too.
And speaking of great comics, you were once a great stand-up comedian, and you've branched out. Let's talk a little bit about you and your history with comedy and what you've done with it. I
don't know if we would go to great stand-up comic. I was a stand-up comic. I actually emceed a lot, and I enjoyed that part of it. But the thing is, I've got severe dyslexia. My memory's terrible. I could never headline a show.
Are you doing a bit right now?
Yeah. Well, I may. We'll get there if I can remember the bit. No, but with a lousy memory, you could never be a headliner. You could never be a middler. So I just did the emceeing thing for 15 years. But when I came to this room and started working this room, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to do any stand-up here because it'll remain a neutral room, because that was the problem with all the rooms in the city. The comics would go to these rooms and it was like real heavy-duty cliques, and you couldn't get in to do stand-up if you weren't good or if you weren't known to the other comics. So all the new people trying didn't have a chance. And that's why I kind of opened this room up, and I stayed to the side and said, you know what? It's a neutral room. Anybody can come. Anybody can try.
Cool. Now, you told me a little earlier that aside from your stand-up, you're still a very busy TV commercial actor.
Yeah.
And you were the first person to ever do a Viagra commercial. There, I said it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that experience.
That was actually one of the first commercials I ever did, and it was a great gig because it was one day. It was my biggest payday ever. It was back before they renegotiated all the pay for all the different actors. But I went out to Mission. I sat on a dock for about an hour with this blonde woman in front of me, and we had to gaze into each other's eyes. And then the people at Viagra said, I think they should be kissing. And I'm like, hallelujah. And I still get paid, right? And they said, yeah. And I got paid $5,000 for that one day of work, kissing a blonde woman. Wow. For like 20 minutes.
What was her name, and are you still with her?
No, I don't remember her name, and I'm not with her. But the cool thing was, the commercial aired for another year. I got another check for $5,000. So for 1 hour of kissing a blonde woman on a dock, I got 10 grand.
I just heard the kissing part. I'm impressed, very impressed.
Seth Rogen came to Punchlines down in Gastown and wanted to do stand-up comedy, and it was the very first time he was ever going to do stand-up. He was 14 years old. He wasn't allowed into the comedy club, but he could stand out in the lobby, and then I introduced him onto the stage. He had to run through the audience, get onto the stage, do his set.
Welcome back to Rise of the Comics. We're here with Steve Allen, Comedy at the Kino, and we're celebrating his 10-year anniversary. And he's got lots of great stories, and one of them is very relatable. A huge Vancouver comic celebrity was, I don't even want to ruin it. Tell us the story about Seth. Just go.
Okay, Seth Rogen came to Punchlines down in Gastown and wanted to do stand-up comedy, and it was the very first time he was ever going to do stand-up. He was 14 years old. He wasn't allowed into the comedy club, but he could stand out in the lobby, and then I introduced him onto the stage. He had to run through the audience, get onto the stage, do his set, and as soon as he finished, he came back off and then back out to the lobby. Well, that was the very first time he ever did stand-up, and it was a big success. He did very well. Well, about 2 months later, his parents came to me and said, I heard you're going down to a writing conference in California called the Judy Carter Writing Conference, and it was at Big Bear Lake in California. And they said, do you think you could take Seth with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, 14-year-old kid, he can't rent a car, he can't get up there for sure. So we go up there, we do our whole writing course, but on a Saturday night, they have an open mic. And we all got up and did our stand-up. Well, he got up and did his, and there were people from ABC, NBC, and CBS there, and he got picked up for Freaks and Geeks. Well, I brought him back to Vancouver, dropped him off at the airport, and I haven't seen Seth ever since. I've been running this room for 10 years, but after 8 years, it came up for sale, and a group of restaurateurs on Main Street bought the place, and we're going to gut it and turn it into a bar, but the deal fell through, so I actually bought the Kino, and now I own the Kino and run the comedy night. It's my baby. That's, if you want active, buy a restaurant. That'll keep you busy all the time.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a few moments with Steve Allen, a very impressive young man, and the number one thing that I got out of all this is that you're passionate, and that's the kind of attitude that has allowed a lot of people to grow in your comedy club.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what we do here. For 10 years, it's been all about the comics getting better and getting ahead, and like hopefully moving on, hopefully never coming back here, because they're so big they can't, they couldn't get in the doors. So
we're here with Julia Stretch. Julia's on the show. She's one of the top comics in town. Although she's been absent, I'm dying to find out, where have you been? Where have you been performing?
Well, I fell down an improv rabbit hole, is what happened. So I got doing more and more improv and less stand-up. So now I've got to fix that.
Yeah, I think you should, because the few times I've seen you, you've been so intelligent on stage. I love your stylings. Where do you get your inspiration from, Julia?
Oh, daily life, like all of us, as brilliant comics.
Well, what's up for Julia Stretch in the future?
Oh man, I am going to quietly undermine the structures we all hold dear and cling to for stability.
That sounds like good mental health to me. Ladies and gentlemen, Julia Stretch.
I go home to Alberta sometimes, and I went home, and things change each time. Like this time, my brother told me that he had planted weed in his backyard, and that my mom was helping him. I was like, okay, our parents are not progressive that way, so how did that happen? He's like, well, I told her that I was going to do it, and she could help me or not. And it turns out that my mom's primary morality is horticulture. No, she didn't have a choice. Like, the Depression-era farmer genes just overrode everything. She's like, well, I'm opposed to illegal drugs, but we gotta have a crop come fall. Dad was like, you bastard! That is so terrible. He made oil. He grew his own weed and made oil from it. He calls it soil to oil. And I was like, dude, sell that in Vancouver, because that is pretentious, and Vancouver likes pretentious shit. We had a gang, and we called it the UN gang. That is pretentious. Our organized crime is a multicultural quilt. And of course, I complained to my parents, to my family, about the cost of living, because if we didn't do that, we would sound like smug assholes when we talk to anyone from anywhere else in Canada, you guys. What do those phone calls sound like? Oh, how's the weather in Edmonton? Oh, it snowed again. Oh, son of a... Sorry, I just stepped in cherry blossoms. I'm covered in splendor. I'm covered in it. Sorry, I'm gonna have to call you back. I want to step into this dispensary here. Oh no, wait, there's another one a half block up. I'm fine. The cost of living is the only, well, okay, the cost of living, our government's a joke, and every 2 months the crows, like there are 2 months a year when the crows attack. But other than that, we have a cool city, it's weird. Like Fort Mac, last year they had fires, they evacuated the entire city without a single direct casualty. If we evacuated Vancouver, how many Ferraris into English Bay? That day. The other day, I had a chance to sleep with somebody I didn't find attractive, but all of my friends did. So I did it on their behalf. I mean, guys, you would do that to brag. Women are collective that way. We're like, one of us should try it. I'm going to report back to the group. Plus, I got to thinking, who's it gonna hurt, right? We're adults. He's my husband. Let's do this. Now, that is not actually true because I date women. I am a lesbian. I don't know how it happened. It came on like a flu. Could have been someone I ate. I don't know. I don't like pride, though. And here's why I don't like pride, okay? Straight people. Imagine I walked up to you and was like, there's going to be a party. Parties all week long. All of your exes will be there. All of them. The out-of-town ones, too, they're coming in for it. Well, that doesn't sound fun. That sounds upsetting and awkward. No. But there'll be a couple of people you haven't slept with yet, so you can make next year awkward. Okay, then, I'll go. I'll pre-drink, but I will go. Anyway, I'm going to leave you on this. In addition to all the cute, curvaceous ladies in Vancouver, there are a lot of super cute trans boys, like male to female to male transsexuals. They're super cute, a bunch of them. They put out a pinup calendar. That's how cute they are, like cuddling kittens and fixing cars and stuff. But what they haven't done yet that they need to do is start a boy band of all trans boys, because they're all on a similar journey, going through a similar process, so they can call it One Direction. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Julia Stretch. Yeah!
That's our show for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you next time on Rise of the Comics.